Orion Kelly had always felt different. He says he didn't seem to fit in and found it tricky to connect with others. But after meeting his wife and having his son, he noticed he shared some of the same traits. An autism diagnosis for his son was a light bulb moment for Orion that eventually led to a diagnosis of his own, but not without its own challenges. And he joins me now as part of Autism Awareness Month. Thanks very much for your time. So you talk about sensing that you felt different. What age were you when you can remember this, and what sort of difference, I guess?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. And just to clarify, this is my happy face. I was told something about eyes and teeth for TV. I feel like a moron, so just going to stick with my normal face. So I think, but your eyes and teeth are amazing, Tom, so don't stop whatever you're doing that you do. Nevertheless, you're kind of born feeling like you don't fit in, even with your own family and friends, and that's not about them, that's about you. So it's very much an early sense. I was bullied in primary school, ostracised, isolated. So really, you feel different from an early age, although because mine was a late diagnosis, what I ended up feeling as I grew older was I was just born a bad person who wasn't meant to fit in or have friends, and I was just born to suffer my way through life. That was kind of my feeling as a young person growing up.
I guess what must have been really hard about that is we're really used to celebrating, individuality in adults a lot. But when you're growing up, particularly, you start high school, you just want to be not standing out in the crowd for the most part, don't you? In a group and being as similar to other people as you can, and you felt very differently. So that must have been really difficult.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, Tom. I would almost argue that there is no such thing as adults being able to stand out. They're able to stand out within the framework of the people around them, their employers or their friends or families. I'm not too sure if I agree with that, but I 100% agree with you. With regards to school, as an autistic person, you tend to have very specific passions and interests at the expense of all others. So for me, I was able to, make my way out of situations through humour, through making people laugh. Of course, it didn't really help me in the long run, but I think as I got older, I was able to find a niche. Most autistic people are very focused and passionate about a particular thing, an interest or a passion, and really that's all they want to do, and everything else is in effect getting in the way of doing that. And I was lucky enough for my passion of really kind of entertaining to lead into a career where I was able to work in media. Although undiagnosed, I would say I would class myself in effect now as probably blacklisted from working in commercial radio or media based on the type of perception a HR would have on me because I was an undiagnosed autistic person, as in I didn't play well with others, or I didn't work in a team, or I was too honest or too open. So from that point of view, that's where as an autistic person I would disagree that being an adult presents even greater challenges because you feel the need to fit in so many different circumstances. And autistic people, we're born with social interaction and communication challenges, and not to mention restrictive and repetitive behaviours. So, I have to be a certain way at work, at home, with friends, with family, in different groups. Does that make sense, Tom?
Yeah, it does. I mean, what you say about HR is really interesting because you would just being you, presumably you were doing well at your work. You've made me laugh already, particularly as myself, because I'm always told to smile more as well. But what you were perceived as not a team player, or some people didn't quite get you, and as a result, it limited what you were doing at work or limited promotions. How did that actually play out? Were you in meetings sort of going, okay, sorry, but what, am I meant to smile more? What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, so I think from just a general insight, that's a great starting point. And as a month designated to kind of raise awareness, I look at it more raise acceptance in autism. That's a great way to start the ball rolling. And you're absolutely right. So look at it like this. We don't choose to be bad or rude or mean or honest. It is actually part of an autistic brain. So, there's nothing about you that's autistic but your brain. That's it. So you have a different brain, a different operating system. Now, if neurotypical people are operating on one operating system and I'm operating on a different operating system, they're clearly not going to connect or match up. And therefore, my idea of honesty, I guess this is how I like to explain it to people. My brain tells me being honest is kindness. A neurotypical brain says being honest can be rude or the wrong thing to do, or inappropriate or not professional. So I found in a HR neurotypical bubble, and by the way, this month is dedicated to transforming towards a neuro-inclusive world, and workplaces are not neuro-inclusive, and this is one of the issues. So the idea that, well, no, Orion's autistic, when he's honest, he's not trying to be rude to you, he just sees that as a way of communicating in a clear and kind way. So Tom, that's a real struggle for me, and as a result, HR, all they can say is, no, you can't act like this, but it's like, so I can't act autistic in respect, no, you can't. We can't have neurotypical people feeling uncomfortable. So it's a real challenge, and that's why it's a focus on neuro-inclusion, Tom.
Well, yeah, okay, that's interesting too, because without giving too much away, I think we've all told, what shall I call them, white lies, polite lies in life, but in work in particular, especially when you might be talking to a boss or whatever, I'm sure everyone out there right now is thinking, imagine if essentially I was, what, is this I'm not sure if this is the right way to put it, but it's almost like compared to someone neurotypical, you've had truth serum, and that's how you go through life trying to almost not say how you really feel and say what's true, whereas other people sort of go, I shouldn't tell the truth, I'm in a work setting, I'll just say the right thing and move on from this meeting.
It's funny, I'm looking sideways to actually see Tom on a screen. But I guess, yes, so you're right, Tom, and that's really it's really helpful for you to make that distinction. So look at it like this, Tom. My brain is autistic, presumably your brain is neurotypical. Now, as a result, the logical part of my brain is larger or more developed than the emotional part of my brain. Therefore, I'm not overwhelmed by the idea that I should tell white lies or sugarcoat things. In fact, I don't. I don't even really with my own children. They might bring a painting home from daycare. Like, what is that? That's you. Seriously? Like that? Where's my head? So from my point of view, as an autistic person, I more look at it like it's logical for me to not. Why would I sugarcoat the truth when you might not? Then you might not realise what I'm trying to convey. So. And I guess this is what it's about. If you can understand me, Tom, you can appreciate me. So if you can understand that it's not malicious, it's my way of thinking, it's my brain, and I think it's kindness and being nice to you. And by the way, I wouldn't tell the truth to someone I don't like. I would just walk away. I don't have time to interact with everyone. It's draining. But if you can understand that, then I think you'll appreciate me, Tom. And if you can develop appreciation through understanding, then autistic people across the planet have a better quality of life, and we can include, neuro-inclusion in workplaces and families and friends, and that's what it's all about, Tom. That's why I'm on YouTube writing books, doing all these things. I've got a 9-year-old autistic son, Conan. My amazing wife, Renee, supports me, and parenting an autistic kid. This is, by the way, we expect someone to say it's a nightmare, Tom. It's a war zone. It's dead set horrible. You think your life sucks. Can't parent an autistic kid. I mean, seriously. So, this is what it's about. If you can understand that, and there you go. I think you can see a picture of us. So every Christmas we get in weird Christmas pajamas and take a photo. With funny faces. This is our family time. Little Hugo, Conan, Renee, me. But did you see what I'm saying? If everyone understands where my brain is coming from, then you won't be offended by the truth. You might find it funny or refreshing, but at least you'll appreciate it. Does that make sense, Tom?
It does. It actually makes me sort of reflect on how much we don't tell the truth in society and how it's the polite thing to do, I suppose. And if anything, that's probably increased in recent years. I haven't even got on to I've found this chat quite interesting. I haven't even got on to how you essentially got diagnosed yourself because it was only via your son's diagnosis, and you went, okay, that sounds a lot like me too.
Yeah. I'll come back anytime, Tom, and tell all your friends they'll come. I'm happy to be back anytime you want. But yeah, you're right. So like probably millions of adults across the planet, there's a new wave of late diagnosis. Now, just like, Everest wasn't discovered in the 40s, I mean, it was always there. There's always been autistic people, but, medicine hasn't caught up. So, and that's a result of, as I'm finding, your child is diagnosed, you go through the period filling out all the forms, ticking all the boxes, and then going, hang on a second, whoa, this is me. And now I spoke to an autistic author during the week who had the same experience. So yeah, but for my son's diagnosis, I may never have received a diagnosis. And in fact, I would say that saved my life. The idea of knowing I'm not a bad person born to suffer. I'm an autistic person born to suffer. But do you see what I'm saying? So it's the importance of diagnosis, and also that autism isn't stereotypical Rain Man. It's an infinite spectrum, like the colour wheel when your computer's going to crash. It's not linear. There's not high and low, severe and light. It's just everyone is different. Different challenges and support needs. Man, my hands are going nuts on the screen. I can't keep up. It's distracting. But anyway, do you see what I'm saying? So it's really important to understand that, you're speaking to a generation right now who may be having an epiphany from this conversation.
I think that's true. I think that would be true for a lot of people. It's been fascinating to chat today, Orion, and as you say, Autism Awareness Month, but also Autism Acceptance Month, as you are aiming to make it. Good to talk to you today. There you go. There's the book. Just lower your hands there so we can see the full title. So Autism Feels. There's the book. Sorry.
Doesn't matter. I don't really. It does. It's okay. Thanks, Dean Publishing. Great book. Please go get a copy. It's cheaper than going on Air New Zealand and sleeping in a bed for 4 hours for $500.
Good plug. Orion, great to talk today. Thanks, mate.